Welcome back to day 73 of our chess journey to 1500 ELO on chess.com. Now I've been packing all my stuff today as I'm leaving and moving cities tomorrow. So today I want to be transparent with you guys. I'm going to try to record as many videos as possible to hopefully get a few days in advance, because I don't quite know whether I'll have internet when I get to where I'm moving to, so I want to have a bit of a buffer in case I don't have internet. Well, anyways, let's just jump on ahead into our game rather. So there will be a couple more videos filmed from this location, and then you might see my new place in a video not too far into the future. We play the Queen's Gambit as per usual, and we have the modern line of the Slav defense. We did face this once and found out this was best. We have not quite faced this yet. The bishop comes out here to f5. Let's see what we do here. I've been thinking for a while and thought this has been good as white, but the computer hasn't quite blessed this. Typically speaking, when I've been looking at the evaluation, e3 seems to be blessed against the Slav defense, closing in our bishop, but strengthening our center and supporting our pawn. So let's play this and then see afterwards. Now we are apparently in a Zucker-Tort variation of the Queen's pawn opening. I think we might be able to apply some pressure down here like this. This knight could come in here though. Do we have this first, maybe followed by this? We have the option of coming here as well. We might want to move this pawn, so do we want the queen to be here? I'm not quite sure. I genuinely can't quite remember theory here. But as we've been discussing lately, I'll try to play logical moves here and not spend too much time, as the difference between the moves should be negligible as long as we play decent moves. b3, preparing to come up like this perhaps. And this I don't quite want to trade because we have so many pawns on dark squares. So let's play for this instead. Now we are apparently in a Slav defense, modern, quiet shallop defense. We are just transposing into every single opening in the game here. We get this. Guess we can come out here to b2. We could still take, but I don't think we need to resolve any tension yet. This, and this should be on the agenda. h3 at an opportune moment. Between those moves, I think I like to play. Well, honestly, we do have a few pawns on light squares now, but our opponent has a lot of pawns on light squares, so they want to trade their bishop off. So let's not trade their bad bishop off now. We'll keep it like this. Although coming here might have been better, I'm not quite sure, although the difference would have been, it wouldn't have been very high, the difference wouldn't have been big at least, unless there was any tactical concrete ideas. I'm not expecting g5 here. They will most likely castle here. And then we have both finished our development pretty much. We could still castle ourselves too. We don't have this now because they went h3 or h6 rather. Did we have this move? No, we didn't quite. g3 or bishop to f2. I think bishop to f2 makes more sense. Oh. I had forgotten we had played this move. Okay. Let's castle. I had entirely forgotten about it. We get this. So what is our best approach here? How do we improve our position and make progress here? To be honest here, I'm not quite happy with what this bishop is doing, but I'd like to make a slow improving move first, h3, and then we might look at this, depending on how our opponent moves their pawns perhaps. They do keep moving pawns to the light squares. a4 should probably shut down this idea. We can't quite come up with our queen because of this bishop. Do we have this here? We can't quite come here because this is occupied. And this, and I'm not seeing any follow-up. Okay, so maybe we'll actually go for this if they trade, we trade. Simply because I didn't like how powerful this bishop was staring into our position, despite them having a lot of pawns on light squares. It's still doing a great job because it's covering a lot of important squares for us at least. Now I'm curious as to whether we take here on d5. Maybe we push. We could play a3 or a4. a4 would probably be played to prevent b5, although it doesn't quite prevent it. I think our opponent is going to take, but they don't. We get this instead. Okay. But now I think we can play here, but then they come up here then. And this is honestly a bit annoying. We can't dig here because of this fork. This intends to allow the capture, but then the knight jumps in, and it doesn't quite work out. But still, I would like to connect our rooks, and this generates a threat. If they take our knight, we can just take. Which piece should we take with? I'm not entirely sure. I'm not expecting this move. Most likely we'll see this. Because if we don't see any of those moves, we should be able to take here and win a pawn. The knight jumps in. Let's have a look here now. Can we occupy this outpost here ourselves? This, and our opponent comes back here. If we go here, we aren't really hitting anything though. But this might allow for this move. But then this knight comes back and we can't quite take here either. Maybe we can push here, is my idea, disallowing this move and killing off this bishop. And then this works a lot better, I think. But what happens if we get this? No, then we take this and this. We can push, or we can leave it and come here perhaps. I think I like this. Now this bishop is awkward, ours is as well, but that's for the time being. If they go here, I still think we have this move. Then the pawn hangs with this fork. They will have to react, and then we can come up and kick this knight out. A4 might still be played at some point. We'll have to see how it works out and what's played by our opponent. I realized to mention we are playing against Pascal Lucien from France, rated 1537 today. I guess I was distracted by the thought of mentioning I'll be recording a couple of videos today, and also mentioning me moving. Now, which moves could our opponent play here? Still they could take, although now it doesn't do a whole lot. But if they take, can we take the bishop? I'm trying to see if the knight can move here. This doesn't look good. I think it would just force two minor pieces off the board in whichever order we end up trading. This, and as I mentioned, we should have this. But now this bishop comes back. But then this makes a lot of sense to me. Or does it? Now this is defended twice now, so we can't quite come in there. There is a lot of resilience here in our opponent, and we have not even traded any pawns yet. This is a rather close position, but can we grind them out positionally? Maybe this is a move, but then they move the knight and we trade bishops and everything just leaves the board. Maybe a4, trying to make some progress on the queen side. We are not really going to be able to do much against this knight, I'm realizing. This knight can't do a whole lot. It could come here, but they can't jump anywhere. A4, if this is played. I think I'd prefer to come up with this knight first. Just looking for threats by our opponent here. I'm not seeing any. I want to come up here, so whenever stuff happens here on this queen side, we threaten this pawn, and we have a great outpost. They can't threaten us like this. This knight might come back. Sorry. If they want to dislodge our knight, they have to move this knight probably here, or they have to push this pawn. This doesn't work, but they could go here and play this. But no, the queen comes out to c7. So what do we do here now? Maybe a4 still, or do we have a rook move? Honestly, I'm expecting rook f to c1 to pay off at some point, because if anything opens up, it's likely to be here or here. Although we could force other files open. Let's say we play here first. This knight has to move. And they can jump into our position like this, because this square is a bit weak now. So instead, let's try to force play on the queen side. Then if this is pushed, now this is defended though. How about jumping around like this? This might be a good outpost, and it might disallow our opponent here from pushing this pawn. So I'm really liking this idea. Now our opponent can overtake our knight. And we can build behind this perhaps at some point. Yeah, I think I like this. As per usual, I'm hoping I'm not missing anything, as doing so would be unfortunate here. But this move kills off our opponent's pawn play and gives us an outpost and hits the rook, etc, etc. Still, this knight could come back here. Then I guess we take, they take, and we occupy this outpost. I would like to get our pawn to a5 perhaps, just to cement our knight in this great position. This knight doesn't have a lot of options for jumping here. We are controlling all its good squares. Could go here, but then again, what's it going to do from this square? Maybe long-term pressure here, but they can't quite remaneuver on this side. So this knight is probably here to stay, unless it's going to capture anything for a discovered attack or something like that. This, as I mentioned, should be a blunder because we come in with a fork. So they can't quite move this knight, at least not here. This might be a move, but this move doesn't address our knight move to b6. If b5 is pushed in one move, then I think we still jump in and try to hit at the pawn like this. If it's pushed, this knight jumps back here. Somewhat unexpected. But this probably forces a bishop trade. We can't block this, and we can't move away because of our queen. This is controlled a lot of times, so that's no can do. Yeah, this seems forced, or we don't have to take. We can maybe move up ourselves and force them to take if they want to. Could we alternatively try to trap this knight? Well, then they take and jump back, so we don't want to weaken our structure for no good reason. So instead, let's follow our plans, jump in here and maybe play for a5. But if we do play for a5, then our opponent's not going to have any play there, but we aren't either. So maybe a4 and they take. I don't think we want to move our knight from this great outpost. So instead I'd like to take with the queen. They could try to, no, they can't quite come there. I'd like to take with the queen. So what does our opponent do now? We have started to create some tension in the position. They come here, which is an indication they want to push like this and open up the center of the board. Which means this knight is going to move, presumably here. Could we kill off that idea? This is a bit weakening though. Let's have a look here. I think we're controlling this square quite well with our bishop as well. Although f4 might be playable, but then they have this outpost, f3, they can't go here or here. What happens if this is played? And this. Here, they go here, and it's not trapped. So let's move the rook instead, perhaps? Or should we play like this and move all the way up? This hits the knight. It's got one good square, namely this. But are we the ones attacking now? Maybe? Although I'm genuinely not convinced. This, and we can never really dislodge this knight. I think we'll play a4. Now we can either play a5 or play for this pawn break at some point. Still, we should be the only ones deciding the pawn play on the queen side. This knight is likely to move. It does, and now this will follow. Here. Here. I don't quite like how this g3 square looks to be weakened. Maybe we play for f5 ourselves. This, and where does this knight go? This move is forced, which is really passive. Then we push up, and I think I like this a lot better. But now this and this knight can come in here, but that's not an issue, I think. Then we can come up here. Yeah, I think we'll push this pawn. And we might have a kingside. Yeah, we'll probably be attacking on the king side, both of us, and we'll see who gets the best play against the other player. Whose attack comes out victorious. This is still a move. I'd like to come here now to disallow this knight from jumping, and then we can double our rooks on the f-file. Then if we get this, and this knight is kicked out, this will be forced, and then they can come here though, so maybe we should push f5 first, so they can play the move. Takes, and I think we take. And our opponent could hit us with some tempo like this, but then we come back and we should have pressure on the half open file. Still, this is quite the long positional struggle. We are on move 20 and we have only really traded down one piece. I'm hoping for a fork here at some point, although I'm not expecting it to happen. This bishop comes in. Which is a pretty good move, I think. Do we have this now? Hitting the bishop. If they go here, we en passant. With this and this, though. I think we might want to go for this. Improving, no, but then the knight takes, but the knight is quite powerful, so I don't think we mind the knight trade, and this position is closed. So this and this, and I think that's not all that bad. The position is closed, so the knights should be strong here. I think we want to get rid of this bishop, and our bishop here is not doing a whole lot. But if the bishop comes here now, can they take our knight? Let's try to calculate. This versus this move. No, now the knight comes in. Is this a move? Maybe this. Hitting the knight, and then we can come like this. This seems okay. I'm not seeing the knight move that follows. They can't, oh, they can take here. No, yeah, they can. Yeah, they can take there. So maybe here. And this is played. Still, they can take this pawn though. Might have blundered a pawn. We'll see this. And if we get this, this, and this, I don't think that transformation favors us. So instead, let's just come over with our lost pieces here. Double rooks. But what happens here though? Maybe we'll get rid of the bishop first. Like this. This is still a move at some point. We're quickly running out of time here though. If this is played, we have this now. So they can't quite push the pawn. This loses a piece. Takes, and we take here. They could come back perhaps. Then I think we could come here. And if takes, we take. If they don't take, they trade. Is this a move? Oh, now this knight comes up. And our opponent's looking to jump, 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 jump with all the knights. Let's try to calculate this. I'm not seeing any concrete follow-up. Unfortunately, if we come back, they hit us like this. We can't come here, we can't come here. Maybe this. This looks like a safe square to me. This knight can't hit us. This doesn't hit us, and now we can double, hopefully, in a safe way. Although I'm not certain. The knight does jump on in. Let's double first. I think we can double. Or maybe this first. I think I want this first, so they can't come. Well, they can still come there now because they have 2 knights controlling this square. That's not ideal. We are running out of time as well. The queen slides over. We will slide over. This might be played. Then we come up, I guess. This is a difficult position. Kudos to our opponent for playing so quickly here in such a complicated position. We might have this at some point. This knight, I'm realizing, is just kind of stranded. It's not doing a whole lot here. I'm hoping for this move so we can fork. That's unlikely. The queen might try to come up here, but then we can hit it perhaps. No, we get this move. Oh well. We don't have a lot of time here. Might have to come back and concede some space. Was this better? It might have been. Yeah, I think this was better. Controlling this and this, our opponent would have had to have a knight. Well, they could have had a knight there, so they could have hit us if we went there. Do we have this move of our own here? If this is played, we fork. So f6 is still not possible, luckily. How does our opponent intend on breaking through here? We might have g4 at some point, forcing the knight back. Although it's not quite forced back though. It could come here and it could come here. If the knight comes here, we don't quite have to react, but if it comes here, we have to move this rook. So let's say they come here, where do we go? Maybe to g1. That might be a move. The alternative is moving all the way over here, but I'm not quite happy with those moves. Yeah, I didn't realize the knight could take here even. That's unfortunate. We are down an exchange and a pawn now. I guess I'm not really concentrating all that well. But still, we'll try to play our best here and maybe we'll be able to draw or get a win still. Our knights are still in good positions and our opponent can only really jump around with one knight now. This could threaten this pawn, although it's easily defendable. Hoping for this, but that's unlikely. My friend is calling me right now. I'll have to not take that phone and I'll just send him a message instead. Call you later. The king comes up. Okay. So what do we do now? really struggling to find moves. Let's push the pawn, I guess. And then after the knight moves out, we can maybe play like this and put pressure here. But now our opponent might be intending f6 because of the king move, because now we can't come here to fork them. If this is played, which it is, we can't quite play this, I think. Oh, I guess we could. Let's just come up, I guess. This is still playable, which I'm expecting our opponent to play. But maybe we can come here then. So they take, no, they push all the way through. I think we have to take. This is difficult to calculate with so little time. A move. This was a bad move. But genuinely, I could not see a good move with our limited time there. This was a horrible move, I think. Well, it was played with 0.0 seconds on the clock. 0.8 rather. So I hope you'll cut me some slack. But it's difficult to come up with good ideas here. Our opponent rather has played quite well so far. So it's difficult to come up with a lot of ideas. We can't occupy this square because this loses. So our knights aren't really doing that much right now. We can't push. This knight, could it come over here? Yeah, this looks like a good move. Because if we take, they come in with a check first. But then do we have this? I'm not quite sure here. This is played. Might have to come back here. This knight is kind of trapped for the time being, but maybe we can get it out at some point. This, and we can control the f4 square. I'd like to get our king back. I did not quite like the move played there. Now this is dropped with a check. The knight hangs and stuff. See, oh no, the knight doesn't hang. So let's come here. If they take, we get this. But still, this is definitely not ideal. We are probably in a decisively losing position here. This can't be played either because the knight is killed. No, this works. We have this check. So that might be a plan to get the queen out of our position. But this and this, though, this can be played already even. It is. And our position is kind of collapsing here. Still, I think we can play here, and if they take, we should get the queen. But I'm expecting one of those moves. And then this is going to get difficult. This knight is protecting stuff and making our movement difficult. Unfortunately, our opponent doesn't quite have so little time yet. Their moves get difficult to make. They do play a good move. Maybe we have to try jumping around ourselves too. If they take, we take. They could come, no, they can't come there, so we might get control over the e-file now. This might be good, solidifying our knights here. This still doesn't work, because we have, no, maybe this does work now. Oh, because now this, and they get a third piece for the queen. So if the knight is taken, then it might just be lights out even. They play this instead, luckily. And let's see how they proceed. They can't go here or here. I'd like to create some counterplay down here perhaps. Forcing this, and then maybe coming here and getting a good attack going. But maybe our opponent has plans to prevent those aggressive ideas. This might be a good defensive move, taking away this square. And then we'll have to come up with a new plan. This square is controlled by us. We don't want a queen trade. Speaking of queen trades. This was a good move. I guess we'll have to deny the trade. Decline it rather and come here. But now they get the file and the activity. We had to keep our knight defended here. Now we don't have this attack against the king. We are down 5 points of material, and our king is open against a queen and a knight. We are checked. We don't want discoveries against our king. Maybe this is a move, forcing the knight to move. The queen can't come here or here. If it goes here, we capture the knight. Now, is this not a free knight? I think it is. Let's try to equalize material as much as possible. This and this. And let's maybe try to close down this rook. Still, we do not have a good position. But this might not be as bad as it was a couple of seconds ago. They take. And now I hope we get a knight on e5. Our opponent can't infiltrate, or well, they could come here actually. But we get this. And now, how do we jump around? Maybe we'll come up here first. I want this knight here for the time being, so e1 is covered. This doesn't quite work. Not yet, at least. a5, and we close down the queen side. If this is played, I think we take, and if push, we should be fast enough to stop this pawn. Takes. If it's pushed, I think we're good there. How about I'm not seeing good squares. It's difficult with this time. And now they come here. We can't come back with the knight, and they will play the pawn up. This was well played by our opponent. This might be a winning idea now. We get forked. Oh, I missed this too. Oh, that's really bad. We can't come there, so we just lose the knight, and then this should be game. Now this is, we don't have counterplay here, so let's resign. Well played to our opponent. Thanks for the game. Well played. And this position was evaluated as 10 in favor of our opponent. Let's jump ahead into the game review. I see we've made 2 mistakes here, but luckily not many blunders or misses. Our opponent just played really well. We played with 80.9 and our opponent played with 86.6 today. So with 0 blunders and 0 misses we did lose, but our opponent did deserve the win here with great play. Let's go through this. This was all logical, theory moves. This was bad though. Here we should have... Yeah, I looked at this idea a bit too late, but what would have been played here then? B3 here was best, or queen to B3 rather. And then F3 was okay as well. This is not as concrete, I think. Well, still, this was okay. All good moves all the way. Did we ever have a better position here? This was okay, I guess. This was a good maneuver as well. Yeah, all good moves all the way here. This was a mistake. B4 or bishop to C3. Yeah, I guess this makes sense considering the maneuver we want to play later on. Still, no, this is just a flurry of inaccuracies. Bishop to E1 was best here. I looked at this move, but I thought it didn't work. Why? If takes... Why did I not think this worked? Maybe I looked at it a move later on, maybe? No, I think I looked at this. Why did I discard the idea? Yeah, I think I genuinely discarded this idea because of this, and I thought it's a check. Which makes 0 sense, absolutely 0 sense. Because it just loses a piece, and now we lost a pawn. This was not best. Takes on E4 was best. Then takes, and we sack some material to get rid of a powerful knight. Here, still takes on E4 was best. I do have to say our opponent played really well here. Yeah, this wasn't really losing or anything, but it wasn't a great move either. B4 was best again. I guess our opponent just had a crushing position here. B4, going back to H2 was best. Queen to D3 to defend our pawn there. But still all of our moves were deemed pretty decent. It's just our opponent's moves were slightly more accurate. But I think we did make a last blunder here. Namely this, which is deemed an excellent move. But the position was so losing, it didn't make much of a difference. Well, that's our game for today, guys. Really well played to our opponent. This was a knight. It was a knight game as well, but it was a nice maneuvering game. And we get outplayed positionally, which was fun to see. Meaning we do get a bit stronger opponents now, evidently, as seen by our powerful 1543 rated opponent. So thanks again to Pascalucian from France, and thank you to the viewers for watching to the end of the video. This has been our game for today, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.